What's up, y'all? My name's Tim Ream. I'm here today on the 68th day of 75 hard. I'm gonna be doing shoulders today. I'm just gonna knock out the shoulders and see where we're at, how much time we've got left. I don't know if I'm gonna throw in triceps with it or if I'm just gonna do some abs. I'm just gonna go with the flow on it a little bit. I got everything set up, so we're just gonna get right into it. I'm gonna start out with the machine military press and yeah, go from there. I've been kind of rushing through these shoulder workouts a little bit, moving into my set to failure pretty fast. So the last probably 2 or 3 times that I've done shoulders, I feel like I've walked out of here and still had a little bit left in the tank. So I'm going to throw probably, I'm not going to say a set amount of how many warm-up sets I'm going to do before I go into that set. I'm just going to do as many as I feel like I need to do to actually make sure that muscle group, whether it be front, side, or rear, actually are kind of pre-exhausted really good before I get into that heavy set. So not going to throw out how many sets I'm going to do, but just going to go with total feel on it. And make sure I walk out of here knowing that, like, damn, yeah, like, I just fucking blasted my shoulders, so.
Your heart check is the most important fight in prisons if you're a new face. They're going to test you immediately when you get in there. The first guy's going to come in is going to do a heart check. Your wife. He's going to ask you one level question. What time do you want to be part of? Get him out of your face as fast as you can. You're going to put your head in the shoulder. Which is it. The second guy comes up.
Got a little bit of a later start today. I like getting out here a little bit earlier because it ends up getting so hot that my camera just shuts off like 6 times while I'm recording. It's a real pain in the ass, especially in the editing process. Got out here a little bit later today, so we'll see how that goes. But I've been getting out here so early that it's not hot. And so this is going to be one of those days where it's actually pretty hot, and I'm probably going to break a pretty good sweat as we get going here. So definitely looking forward to that.
This guy gets the right thing, man. Hit this dude in the mouth.
What's going on? Oh, nothing much, man. We got our special buddy here. Yeah. This is David West.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, brother?
Man, not a whole lot. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No, it's great to see you, dude. David kind of run through St. Louis. He's traveling all over the world. He's one of the best speakers in the world. And he's got an amazing story that he shares and helps a lot of people. And he happens to be here today, so he said, hey, you show.
Yeah, no, I was blown away that it happened like this. Yeah. And we told me there's like, come on in. And first, let me tell you something about your wife.
Also kind of figured out a really good progression from front, side to rear to the traps. And then basically I end up with the 45-pound plate. And you just basically rotate it around your head the entire time. So I'm going to finish off with that. And so it should do the trick. Once you guys see it, be like, oh shit, yeah, it probably does fucking work it out pretty good. So something I used to do a long time ago, I just forgot about. But I feel like it's a good way to just finish off the entire muscle group, shoulder-wise, and just the rear delt and the trap too. Just the total upper kind of torso around the shoulders.
It ain't me, guys.
A little bit loud.
I saw your lights got shut off. Hey, look, bro, I'm a believer in walking. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude,
I'm wanting to really stick to the blood and guts routine where I'm doing triceps on the shoulder day, which would be today. But I want to do biceps tonight at the gym too. And if I go and do biceps just by themselves, then it just ain't gonna last 45 minutes. So if I have triceps and biceps, then I can drag that out 45 minutes. And also just having a break on my work schedule, like a 4-hour block where I work, 45-minute window where I work out and then go back to work. I'm just more productive that way. So, you know, probably will just end up doing abs now that I'm thinking about it.
What kind of values do they really have? What perspective do they really have? Right? Right. So it takes someone who's made multiple mistakes to say, hey, don't have a thing. You know what I mean? So like, I'm just a big believer in redemption, dude. I think that you know, when people do wrong and they make it right, they do their best and live a different way. I think that's how the world's supposed to be.
You do, and that's the thing. I want to applaud you on that, man. Thanks for having me. I mean, you live by what you talk about, and me being here today is an example solely of that, man. Because my backstory, man, it's there. You know, I
tell people a little bit about what you do.
Yeah.
And how you got here. So Damon is an author. He's a 7-figure public speaker. He speaks all over the planet. He's very fucking good. You guys have to have a chance to hear him speak. It's amazing.
All right.
He's an entrepreneur. But it wasn't always that way.
No.
So let's get into the beginning of that and give the listeners
I was talking about one of the shorts that I made yesterday. And actually, I could probably look to research, but I don't really look at a lot of science. I just really try to cross-reference what I do with real life. Like, am I seeing results from this? Okay, I'm not. Back it off. Change it or tweak it somehow. So I just try to find applicable stuff. But I said that if you can collapse those time in between each one of your exercises, if you can collapse the time in between, then you're basically ramping up your intensity. And some guys like, oh, you need 45 minutes in between each set to failure just so you can go to failure. It's like, dude, I'm not sitting around for 4 or 5 minutes fucking, you know, twiddling my thumbs in between sets. Like, it just seems like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem right to me. I'm sure you're fully recovered for sure, but as far as actually just being in a productive workout where you're in a groove, you're in the zone, I just don't see how you can take 4 or 5 minutes in between sets. Just, I don't know. If it's science-based, it's science-based, but I don't know. I'm not really gonna try it. All right, this is gonna be the heavy set failure here.
Drugs and addiction don't discriminate. That gets in there, right? So we reservation broken into homes of dozens and dozens of people in the uptown neighborhood and beyond who feed our insatiable method. And when I broke into people's houses, I didn't just steal property from my victim. I stole something way more valuable from these people. I stole their sense of security. And I don't know if I was ever get that back. No one was ever home.
It's very much a violated field. I had to deal with it. I've had to deal with it. You had to deal with it? Yeah, I had to deal with it in my house for political.
It's something I think about. Like, today in this life, I've got a wife, I've got a stepdaughter. Imagine somebody doing that in my home, but I did to other people. Yeah, you know, and I was didn't physically hurt anybody. No one was never saw my victim. Never saw me. We didn't use any weapons.
I'm doing 2 exercises for front, 2 for side, 2 for rear. So I'm gonna make sure that that first exercise in each area is gonna be having really good warm-up set and kind of good feeler sets. Because once I do that and I've blasted it, gotten it ready, then 1 warm-up set on that second exercise and then going to failure is going to be just fine. So I'll do 1 warm-up set with basically a cable military press. I can definitely feel I'm pumped in my front delts right now, so just kind of drive it home. Move into it pretty rapidly here, just to keep that pump going.
I worked on Wall Street, so man, judge with the sentence out loud, 65 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. And DJ, that's a life sentence in Texas.
What was that?
It was like, stop it, baby.
What was that?
Oh my God. The first thing that went through my head was like my mom and my dad were there in the subway. And I'm like, they just heard that, you know? And I think myself, man, I feel like these people. And as soon as the judge reached out, the sheriff was on the bed, from their hands up, they took me right there. They're getting me out. This guy could run or anything, but I mean, I was just stunned. Still I lock eyes with my mom on the way out. I screamed across the board. My mom, I'm sorry. They whisked me out of there. They took me inside and got a bulletproof vest. My mom and my dad escorted in the other side of the glass. It's about a 5-minute conversation. They're gonna let my parents have one last visit before they go to Christmas. They actually feel sorry for my parents after that life. My mom had this conversation with them maybe in 2009. It's about 5 minutes, and she's telling me, you know, you can't go to prison and get one of these white people.
Okay.
And, you know, she's telling me no games, no tattoos. She said, you come back as the man we raised, but don't come back to us at all. Say, I mean, you owe us this debt. You owe Texas that other debt. You owe us this debt. So it took me back to myself. I got 2 months before the prison was picking up on me. And I'm like, every guy in jail, how am I going to survive? What am I going to do? And every guy's black, white, Asian.
Decided 5 pounds on each side kind of feels like weak sauce, but I'd actually rather just make sure that I drive home the burn rather than go into heavy sets and just feel like I didn't really get as good a concentration. So I'm gonna just, if I feel like I can do another set after this heavier, then I'll do it, but I think this one will be just fine.
So he tells me, he said the first thing you need to understand about prison is that prison is all about race. He said, race is going to get tired of it. Because he makes one to about race. He said that's how they keep people preoccupied. They fight racial wars in there, and you get stuck fighting that. He said because it's about race, when you walk in the door, the white things get first dibs. So the Aryan Brotherhood, the Aryan Circle, the White Knights, the Woods, something all the white things. He said you got to fight all of them to be independent. He said, if you don't give in to the ideology of hate and fear, then you're going to fight them. He said, the white things are going to send the white things after the West. The black things, blood, the warriors, they're going to be having a tea off against independent white things.
I think I'd be in the maybe. Yeah.
Bro, I'd be an independent.
Yeah. I don't think you probably run all of it. I don't know about that.
I listen to your stuff, Andy. You'd be an independent. Like,
And now you can see why I like to do those standing too, because once you get to a partial, you can kind of wiggle around and get that up and at least fight the negative. And my whole thing is like, every movement that I pick, I've got the idea in my mind that I want to go to failure and beyond. So I do a lot of one-arm movements where I can help myself once I get past the failure point, just a little bit, where I do standing stuff, so I can fight to get just that little bit of extra and get myself past failure into that red line zone that I talk about. So everything I picked is basically strategic in order to take my body or those sets into failure range and beyond. So just kind of explaining my strategy. We're going to move into the side delt there. And this is one of the ones where I'm wanting to do maybe an extra warm-up set or two, just to make sure I really target that side delt, get it pumped up and good and pre-exhausted, and then go into that heavy set to failure. So this is one of the ones that I've had in mind. Well, I said that earlier. So we're going to pyramid our way up with like 20, 25, and like 30-pound dumbbells.
He said, well, when you get into prison, when you get life in this book, he said, do not run to your bunkers, the guys in the street. He said, man, when you walk in that day, you put your bags down, you put your back against the wall, and just let it happen the first day. And I'm like, man, what happened, dude? What are you talking about? He said, your heart check. Your heart check is the most important fight in prison. He said, you're facing them. They don't know you. They're going to test you when you get in there. The first guy's going to come is going to be a white guy. He's a white. The first guy's not threatening. He's an information guy. Scout. I'm going to ask you one question. What game do you really play? Get out of your face as fast as you can. Get ready. Put your head in the square. Because the second guy comes up, he's going to force you. He's going to hurt you. He said,
I'm usually up for probably like
put your fist in his mouth.
at least like a couple hours usually before I come out into the gym. Shit, dude, I was still fucking wiping the sleep out of my eyes whenever I come in here practically. So it kind of took me a minute once I got in here before I turned on the camera to really, okay, let's take a second and get an idea of what our workout looks like. Get it in my mind. Okay, I'm gonna do military press, cables, side raises, and just kind of go through and visualize the workout before I ever do it. Get connected with what I want to do, and then boom, all right, let's move into it here.
Just like you said, the first day I walk in, I go to the Mark Styles unit for my test. It's one of the toughest prisons in America. It's one of the toughest prisons in America.
8 more days of 75 hard in the spring cut.
I went back to school. I got a master's in justice, and I became a professor at the University of Downtown, teaching a class called Prison of America. How about that? Yeah, the only professor on earth in this class who lived in prison. So I know. So I walked.
Definitely gonna go on the cut, probably another month at least.
The door closes behind me. I look at this giant 3 chips of cell.
Just to drive it home, because man, as much as I don't like to admit, I'm down to about 160 pounds right now, and I've still got some ways to go as far as getting down to where I'm like seeing veins in my chest and all that stuff. I mean, hell, I've still probably got 15 pounds to lose before I'm just completely fucking peeled. I'd like to get somewhere close to being peeled before I turn the corner to go up on my bulking phase. It's kind of strategic, just once you get really lean, you can start seeing what all these little bitty changes are actually doing from one week to the next, progress picture wise. And I'm not trying to go into a high ass calorie surplus either. I'm just trying to get it fine tuned above maintenance range to where, okay, now I'm seeing strength gains consistently. So I want to get scientific with this next phase, but I got to get lean as fuck to do it first. So it's probably going to be another month of cutting after this. As much as I don't want to, because it just mentally fucking bogs you down. And, you know, just it is what it is, dude. Alright. But I've never received a message back from them, but I've been so support. So if any of them are listening, I'll SWAT, and we're just going to for July 30th. No, I want to have like a recreate. Yeah, the window this time with the off the hinges. I want to like have some. I'll just open the door. Okay, so walk in, man. Everybody's fucking screaming. It's fucking. And obviously, one reason that I wasn't doing as many warm-up sets is because if you can take one of those out, then the set to failure, technically you should be able to push more weight. So I was kind of using that as an excuse, but I wasn't as targeted and focused as I'd like to. Usually I'd be able to hit a little bit more reps with that, but I'm pretty exhausted with 2 warm-up sets rather than just 1. So now it's kind of taken away from that max set a little bit, but I feel like as long as you pumped it up and took it to failure on that very last one, I mean, technically your body doesn't know if you're doing 25s or 30s. All it knows is if you're going into that failure and beyond zone, and it's a stress you got to cope to. It's a new one, or you cut it off where, you know, you're still, you're not setting a PR. So I guess that's what it matters, is just fucking taking it to failure, really. Gotta remind myself of it sometimes. Alright. Definitely feel that. Just gonna drive home. Side delts with this lateral raise for cables here.
Does that beat me from one side of the building? He beat the hell out of me and that's what prison fighting looked like for me. I mean, it took me 2 weeks. And sometimes you don't have time. Because rules go off the table for guys who are different. I remember 6 weeks in, I got jumped on a Friday. And man, they were trying to break me. And that was my moment. And I just thought about killing myself. Monday after that, 6 weeks in prison. I've probably gotten 3 days in that period. 75% of the time, but with a lot of prison.
Yeah, that definitely drives that home. That burn.
Much like what's going on in society, man. Yeah. No one's caring about you when
Keep talking about, well, I'll tell you here in a second. Let me get this out of the way. Okay, I feel like I'm driving that home now. Kind of introduced the burn really good on that first set. And then whenever I go into that second, you're just basically hitting the nail, driving the nail in, and then smacking it on the fucking head for good measures. Oh, I keep talking about how those pre-exhaustive sets, if you can do those before you go into your exercises, kind of, your main one, it's like the weak link in a chain. If it's got a chink in it, whenever you want to put stress on that chain, all that weight's going to be directed and focused right on that weak link. So I feel like if you can get somewhat of a chink in your armor a little bit, whether it be in your chest, and that's the muscle group you're working on that day, or the shoulders or side, quads, whatever it be, if you can pre-exhaust them before you go into your other movements, dude, all of those other movements just count that much more. Because you're just fucking hammering it home, dude, at that point. It's a weak link in the chain. And all that weight's just focused on that. Alright. I want to pre-exhaust rear delts. Pretty good on these. Actually, I'm going to do them first, and then, so, yeah, we'll do rear delts.
After a week of playing basketball, guys, the last stuff around is a blood from do something different. Big old dude. Yeah, but this, you know what, Wes, you first time I fought here, you've never seen a black basketball. Just everything I had, gave it back when you could. You didn't do racial with us. So you don't have to worry about the blacks first time you do it with us. And that's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's kind of weird. If I'm trying to like flex in the mirror, one of the hardest muscles to flex for me is the shoulders. Like the side I can kind of get it, but if I'm trying to flex the front, I can't even fucking get my mind connected with it at all. It's probably different for different folks, but for me, man, for some reason, just a hard muscle group for me to try to flex.
He said the truth is it's probably going to end too. He was right about it. But that my thinking was everything inside the place. But it didn't mean you could bloom when you're planning. I started working on myself inside the prison, you know. I started getting up every single day, and I focused on the things I could be happy about in life. But even though I'm inside of a prison, there's still things I could be happy about in life. I got a family out there that loves me. You know, my family never let go of me. They came to visit me over 150 times out of prison. I was in prison in Beaumont, Texas, in Port Arthur, Texas, where I'm from, I'm right next to it. So my parents came to see me and said, you know, I met your dad while I was on the way. You guys reminded me of my dad. And he just had me age. Yes, I'm age. You'd say from Missouri. So, I mean, it's like, you know, my parents never gave up on me. And I got every day, and I told myself that no matter where I am, the person I want to be when I get out of this, I've got to be someone close to today. Like, I want to be someone that add value back in the world.
And one reason why I'm talking about why it's where I'm standing in the mirror flexing, it's kind of hard to, like the shoulder is just one of those muscle groups it's hard for me to flex. Well, the thing is, while I'm doing this movement, or any movement, I like to make sure that I'm actually flexing and squeezing while I'm doing the fucking reps. So this kind of probably just need to do more, maybe not more, but like I haven't done it as many times as I've done quads and, you know, chest and all that. So maybe it's just going to take a little bit more time for me to really learn how to focus and squeeze on those, you know, muscle groups while I'm doing the actual exercise. Is probably what it is, really. And do one more rear delt to failure. Then last week I went straight into pull downs behind the back for kind of the traps and the rear delt. But this week I'm going to, and then I did shrugs. This week I'm going to kind of pre-exhaust the shrug, or the trap muscles with shrugs before I go over there and do the rear pull down. Just I feel like it'll drive it home and allow me to get a little bit more focused on the traps whenever I'm doing that movement. So kind of experimenting with the progression of the workout and how it unfolds. Should I put this movement here or here, and where does it best serve me? So still kind of messing with that a little bit.
Miss Braggs, my girl dancer. Miss Braggs, if you're listening, I come from Miss Braggs, I pay a Miss Braggs, I get travel with Miss Braggs every time I travel with her. I got one for first one. But I mean, I don't let the little boy life, because I think that growth follows momentum. Once you believe in yourself, other people can believe in you too. You appreciate you present yourself. Absolutely. And you should.
Okay. Definitely tell that extra warm-up set in there takes away from that max set a little bit. All right.
The world gives you permission to do something. It's not that at all. Like, it's what you decide you are, and then you become that, even if you're acting as if you are that, and you know you're not. So really, dude, you exactly how we talk about it.
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to out the things that you put yourself out, you put yourself in a position to fail. You know, because
I was also doing these facing away from the machine. This time I'm going to do it facing the machine. See if I feel like I get a better contraction doing it. All right. Do some shrugs here. Good up and then a slow negative down. All the way into a deep stretch and just kind of hold it a minute. Introduce that burn. Once that burn kicks in, then we'll start driving home some good reps.
Today, Dak Prescott and I were working together on this movie deal to turn my story into a Netflix series or a TV show or whatever. But Dak was a football camp that I volunteered at this summer, and that's what you saw the video of the chunk. Yeah. But January 12, 2017, the world's a little bit different. I've been out of prison for 14 months.
What was that like going in and then coming out and the world being so different?
Phones were the first thing that really tripped me out. When I got arrested, phones had butt. My mom hands me an iPhone today. I get out and the backseat of the
Okay.
Prison was the adjustment back then. One of the hardest things to get adjusted.
Give it just a little second before
The threat of violence
moving to this.
really holds the whole thing together.
It's kind of weird too because like with biceps, you can just get a super good contracted squeeze with traps, and I feel like with chest, it's kind of hard to just get a really good isolated burn right on the traps. Like, you got a lot of other muscle groups coming into play, and it's kind of hard to get that isolated feeling to where you can just burn the shit out of that muscle group. And I've kind of been looking for years for something that would do it. Now that I'm thinking about it, kind of almost like a lawnmower with cables or something. You could probably do it maybe, and just get a really good focused burn and squeeze. Just thinking out loud. But finding an exercise that would just really drive home maybe a lot of reps and keep the muscle under tension in a really good focus and stretch type of way, an isolated way. Thought about some different type of exercises for just arms, and it would be basically like, instead of your conventional tricep push downs or biceps, like, dude, if you have like almost like a a bike for your hands, like if you just fucking did that and just, it's like coming up with new unconventional ways of training muscle groups and body parts that aren't just your normal push down, pull up, push down, pull up. It's like, but do you use it for like, a few months, it'll actually just, you'll see all of your arms getting built instead of just, I don't know, isolated bicep or tricep. All right, we're going to get into this. That was enough rest. Do one warm-up set and then a heavy set to failure.
All the best coaches are there, and USC, Wisconsin, Penn State, they're all there, right? And I get to go up and I meet these coaches and I shake their hands and I press in the flesh and give them my pitch while they should bring me in to talk to the team. And every coach I meet that night slams the door in my face. I mean, they're all telling me, it's a bloodbath. In 1 hour, I got 7 no's from the 8 coaches that are there. That's a no every 8 minutes, man. Yeah, but there was 8 coaches. I'm in the corner of Toyota. I'm looking at my wounds. I'm feeling sorry for myself. The voice in my head is screaming. I go home. What are you doing in this room? Like I said, voice talking. That's fear. I'm going to tell you something. I quit doing it a long time ago, listening to myself. I never listen. I talk to myself a lot. Now I'm telling myself, I'm pumping myself. You're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. That last coach is going to tell you no to your face. And the last coach, all he's got to get you in his team is just beat Alabama 2 nights before. Everybody wants to use this man's time. But I'm reminding myself too, you survive prison, you survive different way versus this. Now I'm applying perspective to what a bad day is. And we all own this perspective in life. We forget about that sometimes. We think things are bad, you know? A real bad day, that's when a marriage fails, that's when a bankruptcy happens, a job is lost, when a child dies. That's a bad day. Most of our days aren't going to go. So I'm like, you know what, you're not going to go to this last one, so I stopped.
So I've been throwing carb loading in there a little bit, and there's a fine line. So basically, if you're on in a cutting phase, typically going to keep your fats and proteins about the same, and if you're bulking, you'll slide your carbs up. But if you're cutting, then you'll cut your carbs back, and usually just cut the carbs a little bit. Well, once you deplete them so much in a cutting phase, then you're basically not giving and since they're low, you're basically just depleting your body of all of the glycogen stores, and your muscles will get really flat. And since your central nervous system and your brain and whole entire muscular system runs on glycogen, then it can really start depleting you and your energy and all that shit. So having a couple high carb days in there to kind of deplete them and then go back into your calorie deficit will just give you that much more time on a diet rather than getting fatigued and just burning out. But that being said, I've been experimenting with those days, and whenever you get into the higher carb days, there's a really fine line in between, okay, I filled up and replenished my glycogen stores, and then once you do that, if you go past it, then it starts to spill over into subcutaneous liquid, and so I can definitely tell I got into that area. So still experiment with it a little bit. It definitely helps your dieting aspect, because you kind of, it's like, I heard it be explained, if you are trying to hold your breath underwater, well, if you pop up, take a breath, and then come back down, then you can keep, going. But if you just hold your breath until it's done, then that's it. So it's kind of dieting carb load a little bit, and then go back into your diet. So it just helps you on a longer diet phase doing that. All right, let's go into this set to failure here.
And I'm like, oh, John, man, I know who you are. I'm like, he said, that was when.
Hey everybody, Dabble Swing here, Clemson football. I gotta tell you, been at Clemson 15 years, and we just had got to team tonight by the name of David West, and he was one of the top, most powerful messages that I've ever heard. Unbelievable presentation, and really a message that all teams should.
All right.
And the message that was delivered was so relevant, right on, is authentic, right on point. So, David West, great story, and very inspirational.
He said, I just got done speaking to Clemson's football team, and Dabo told me, Dabo brought me off.
All right. I'm gonna drive home with the 45 here, just to kind of cap off the shoulders and the burn. You'll see it's a good movement to finish off with. All right.
Next summer, 2019, exactly 10 years after our first visit to Mr. Jackson, the book, The Coffee Room, comes out, becomes a bestseller here in America, and it's all over the world. It's almost every language in the world: Chinese, Spanish, Arabic, French, Italian. They all have a version of the Coffee Room. The book, because the Coffee Room is one of those rare messages that can be translated in any language. So everybody understands a carrot, an egg, and a coffee, and a bunch of water. And it's just taken off and exploded. In my speaking career, exploded from that, because in my presentation, you hear about a guy that had lost a all the way, fought his way back, and started applying these rules to be a coffee man, and came out on the side to be a success. It shows you the message. Yeah, if I can do it there, you can do it out there. That's the point, man. I mean, what do you say all the time? It's ultimate rebellion, push excellence. Push excellence, ultimate rebellion. That's, man, I'm going to do the rest of my life. I'm probably going to
All right. I don't really like going into really prolonged sets. I'd like to have a heavier set, heavier weight. It doesn't last as long, but the way that plate is shaped, you can go around your head easy. Compared to maybe a kettlebell or a dumbbell, it's just awkward, obviously. So the next option after a 45-pound plate really ain't there. Unless you're gonna hold two plates, which now you're just getting to where it's like you gotta fucking keep them together while you do that. So there's a little bit of a limiting factor on that exercise. You don't really go up 45 pounds unless you find another weight that's manageable like that is. But all right, I'm going to save triceps for tonight at the gym. I'm just gonna do some decline sit-ups, drive home some abs, and we'll call it good. Broke a good sweat, feel good on that one. Can definitely feel that. Those two last exercises in my back, especially last week, the first week I did them. Fuck, dude. The pull downs and the shrugs, and then driving them home with the, I don't even know what you'd call that, around your head with that plate. That just hits the entire upper body, really.
Okay, I love it. That's, you gotta visualize and touch the dream. You just touch it.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. So, all right. So you know how the show works, right? Absolutely. All right. People submit questions, and we'll kind of triple team them in. Yeah. We'll take it. Is that what they do over there in Mandingo or whatever?
Mandingo Warriors.
Mandingo Warriors. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm not trying to disrespect. I'm just saying. let's get into it, man. Guys, David, question number 1. Andy, my biggest problem, which is also the number one thing that holds me back in all areas of being successful in life, is a fear of confrontation.
You know, one thing that's been on my mind, and I heard it yesterday, just the idea of it being brought up, and basically, okay, so you got like maybe like 10% of the population that is the wealthiest, and they tend to do things and handle themselves 180-degree opposite than the people who aren't, especially financial wise and a bunch of other aspects too. And basically, whenever you're coming from the poor and middle class, you've got a lot of ingrained habits, and actually our habits are what brings us our future. And so if you have all those ingrained habits, trying to get to that, you know, top tier, you've got to shed a lot of the bullshit. And if you don't have anybody to guide you through that process, then as you start making these changes, everyone around you is like, whoa, what are you doing? And it'll start casting doubt on what you're doing. Will this actually get me here or will it not? And the thing is, like, whenever you're navigating that process, you don't know whether you're doing it right or not. You don't have any confirmation around you that this is actually going to get you to where you want to go, which is that top 10% financially. But the thing is, like, I didn't have anybody to guide me either. And I just had to start making a cold, hard calculus, like, okay, if I want to have $1 million, just as this is an arbitrary number, if I want to have $1 million, then I've got to save $50,000 over 20 years. And if there's a theory that competes with that, then it just can't be so. And I've got to go with this one. This has to win out. And so you got to basically start getting confidence. And if you're not clear on your goals, then you'll start listening to the noise of all the other people around you. But if you can get to the point where your goals are clear and you can start saying, okay, this will get me here, this won't, and you can start drowning that noise out, and then it'll give you the confidence to do the things that you know you're supposed to be doing whenever there's 100 people telling you not to. And I always say that whenever your goals are clearly defined, your decision-making process is easy. So if I'm trying to get in shape, then what does me eating this cake have to fucking do with it? It doesn't. Boom. All of this stuff becomes clear now. And your decision-making process is very easy.
Hold your line and yourself, or you fucking, like back in those days, you used to get picked on and beat up all the time. Now you might not get picked on and beat up, but you find yourself in a situation where people perceive you as weak. And I give this person a lot of credit for asking this question, because just to have the courage to even ask this question shows that they're aware that they're perceived as a weak person, which is something that not very many people are capable of even doing. Right. So the fact that you're aware of this and that you understand that this problem is real and it's affecting your life is a huge deal, because most people never do that. So we have a society that's built for antisocial behavior. And that creates a situation.
And so for me,
harder to do confrontational.
I think one of the best things that you could ever master in your life is the art of reverse engineering the thing that you're going after. And I like starting at the end. What is my end goal? What is my end vision? Starting at the end and then working your way back. You know, if I need $1 million, okay, when do I want to have it? 10 years. Okay, that's $100,000 a year. Okay, how can I get $100,000 a year? Okay, and so you basically start with your goal and then work your way back into bite-sized incremental chunks. Okay, I've got to have $100,000 a year. Okay, what is $100,000 divided by 12 months? Okay, that is, I don't know what that is, 8,000 a month or something, roughly. I don't know the exact figure, but okay, I got to get $8,000 a month. How can I get $8,000 a month? Okay, what's $8,000 a month divided by 30 days? Okay, that's how much I got to make every single day. So you break it down until it's immediately applicable to today, and I can actually do something about today, right? More complicated, more complex than that, but starting at the end with your vision and then reverse engineering it into bite-sized manageable chunks you can manage on a daily basis. So you're getting clear again.
baked beans, right? And you're like, oh, you see that they got Bush's baked beans, right? And you're like, are those bushes as good as they say they are, right? Like, you have to develop this, it sounds cheesy, but what will happen is you'll start to dissipate this fear of actually interacting with humans. And I did this for years, every single day, okay? Because it takes time. But what happens is you become comfortable and you learn that there's nothing really to fear about other people. And that actually makes you able to have a tough conversation much more easily than it would be if you didn't have those skills at all. So I would start there. I would start and assess your own personal social skills. And if those need to be addressed in a positive way, just play that game I played. Go to the grocery store, follow 3 people. When you have 3 conversations with strangers.
And I also say all the time, like, it's important to have goals, dude. You gotta have goals. And the thing is, like, I actually feel like it's a total spiritual process. You're totally refining what is on the inside of you. Because whenever you set a goal, hey, boom, I set this goal to get in shape. I'm not in shape. What is it going to take? It's going to take a good diet. It's going to take me going to the gym. Might take a training partner. It's going to take a new regiment. Boom, that goal shines like a spotlight on everything that is wrong with me. What will get me there and what will not. And you've got to shed that shit. You have to get better. And I feel like that process is a spiritual process because you're refining and getting in tune and getting better at becoming a better you and a better individual. And it's like alchemy, dude. You're turning that lead into gold. And the more goals that you set down and hit and accomplish, I mean, I just feel like you're just building that much more self-confidence, that much more self-worth and self-esteem. And now, if you're doing that in your finances, your health and fitness, your diet, your relationships, you're helping your community, you're giving back. Like, whenever you start doing that, and there's about 5 major areas you really want to make sure that you're really doing it as a man. And what people expect a man to bring to society: protect finances, protect his family, have a good relationship, raise his kids, all those. There's just a few areas. If you can start really fine-tuning your process in all those areas, I'm telling you, in a world of people that don't hold those things in high regard, you're going to be that person going into the restaurant. He's fit, he's in shape, his family is fucking awesome, he runs a business. Like, you're going to be that guy who walks in the restaurant and is just like, that motherfucker's different. And it's because you do the things that everybody else knows they're supposed to do, but don't do. But you do them, and you know it subconsciously. You don't have to tout it. You don't have to sit there and prove it to everybody else. You prove it to yourself on a daily basis, and that's what counts. And you just walk around with that aura, and you've got that self-confidence. So it's obviously something that's built over time. You see people with the finished product, and they've done it. You see them, it's like, damn, they've got everything going for them. You don't realize that they had to work on each one of those finances. Okay, then my health and fitness, then relationships, then my family, and all of this other stuff. And all these micro habits are built up in each area until he's got that down, and then on to the next. And it's probably a 10-year process, 15-year process. It's a lifetime process, but you see the finished result and don't realize what it actually took. It wasn't magic. It was all built over time with perseverance and tenacity and discipline. And he failed and tried again and failed and tried again until he got it right. We'll do one more set of these, and then see where we're at time-wise.
They're very powerful. And when you can learn to just say no and just keep walking and not explain it, at first you're going to feel like a dick. But after a while, people are going to start to respect you and they're going to see you differently. And that gives you strength and confidence to have more difficult conversations, because the reason that we have a hard time with interpersonal conversations or dealing with a job, like the reason this person can't be a manager is because you lack the ability to say no. That's really your whole thing that you miss. So practice saying no, and without apologizing and without trying to explain it. And then if they want an explanation, you can explain it. But like, don't do this gushing shit where you're like unsolicited. No, what? I really like to do it, blah, 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 blah. That's weak. Okay? What's not weak is no. And then the other person says, okay?
And the thing that came to mind whenever I was explaining that he had to fail and then try it again and fail, and he basically failed at every single part and phase of that building the complete man. But you know, it's like the gym, dude. Translates into everything else that we do in life. And this is one reason why I like the one set to failure, is because once you get to failure, you have everything inside of you saying, quit, quit, quit. Stop, dude, this fucking hurts. Like, and you have to literally say, shut the fuck up, I'm gonna fucking push this shit. And in the gym, like, you know, it's like you're fighting your demons, bro. You got all those voices telling you quit, give up, do this, do that. And you stand there with your face like flint and you say, I'm going through it no matter what. And I feel like once you do that, dude, then, and you get out into the real world, if you're used to beating your demons down in here, then once you get out in the real world, they're not as bad. But anyways, this camera's getting hot. This was day 68 of 75 hard. Shoulders and abs. I appreciate you guys following along with me. If you like the way I take you through the workouts and just the content, I would appreciate if you share, like, and subscribe. If not, that's cool too. You know, we'll part as friends. But all right, guys, that was day 68.